Good afternoon and welcome to the Community Services Parks Commission special meeting on June 26th at 2:39 p.m. Could we have a roll call, please?
Commissioners Alcazar,
Here.
Kafayan,
Here.
Sardarbegian is absent, Wolfson,
Here.
and President Meek.
Here.
The agenda for the June 26, 2023 special meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on or before Friday, June 23, 2023. Item 2, introductions and presentations at A, recognition of cruise night sponsors.
Okay. And there she is.
Hello, good afternoon, members of the commission. I'm Gabrielle Golia, Community Services Manager. I am excited to announce that Cruise Night is coming in just 3 weeks. Yay! Unfortunately, our 3 big sponsors that we wanted to acknowledge today, they were unable to make it, but I still wanted to come up and let everybody know about Cruise Night and who our sponsors are and what's going on with it. Cruise Night is taking place on July 15th from 5:30 to 10:30 p.m. down in the heart of Glendale on Brand Boulevard. Anybody interested who's watching can check our website at GlendaleCruiseNight.com. This year we have had a lot of wonderful sponsors. We actually have raised over $42,000 for the event this year, which is really exciting. Our top 3 sponsors who we had invited today are C&B Law Group, which is our presented by sponsor, the Greater Downtown Glendale Association, and the Economic Development Department. So C&B Law came in at $10,000, and the other 2 organizations came in at $5,000 each in order to support our event. And then we have a number of other sponsors who have donated between $500 and $2,000. So it's a very exciting event. The theme is a British invasion this year. So we will have a Beatles tribute band, we will have a Rod Stewart tribute, and we will have a Rolling Stones tribute. So it will be a really fun evening, and we are excited to see you all out at the event.
Do we have any idea how many of the cars will be there this year?
We're definitely going to have over 300. We are still taking registration, and I'm hoping for about 350 cars this year based on the way we're going.
That'll be great. It's always a great turnout to this event, and I will be there.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Next on the agenda?
2B, introduction of new or promoted CSP employees.
President Meek, members of the commission, I will invite up Seva Garabedian to introduce one of our new employees, and then after Sevak's done, maybe Judy, you can follow.
Good afternoon, President Meek, members of the commission. My name is Seva Garabedian, Community Services Manager with the department overseeing recreation and community centers. So joining us new since our last commission meeting is Chase Magno. Chase, if you could come up. Chase is a community services coordinator, and he'll be responsible for the day-to-day operations over at Spar Heights Community Center, as well as the day camps, everything that goes on in that facility, and summer concerts in the park. So Chase comes to us from the city of Corona, and prior to that, the city of Anaheim, where he's had extensive experience with youth and adult sports and their after-school program. So please welcome Chase.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Would you like to say anything?
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. It's very nice to meet everyone here today. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda? Or is there more? Oh,
yes.
Judith.
We have more new faces.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Judith Velasco, in charge of the workforce section. I would like to call up my 3 new staff, Leona, Rita, and Bonnie. If you can please join me up. Let's start with Whoever's closest to me. Bonnie Villalobos is actually an existing city employee. She was an hourly custodial worker with us for some time. We have an off-site facility for the Verdugo Job Center at 1255 South Central. Our facility is over 23,000 square feet. So she's been very instrumental in making sure we follow all COVID protocols during that time. And she does an exceptional job in making sure we have a safe and clean facility. So I'd like to introduce you to Bonnie Villalobos.
Thank you.
Right next to Bonnie, we have Leone Belayans. She's been with the city actually too for about 15 years with the police department. So we're very lucky she's with workforce section. She'll be working with us as an administrative analyst in charge of contracts, procurement, special grant projects. As you saw with our report, we have a lot of grant funding that we manage in the budget. So we're very lucky to have Leone as well. She just started with us, I would say, a couple weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So I'd like to welcome Leona to the team as well.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you.
You'll be very busy.
Next, we have Rita Tarazian. She's also been with the city since 2021, working in our youth program under Glendale Youth Alliance. She will start her new position at the Youth Services Coordinator. She will continue to provide valuable services directly to the youth and their families. She worked with GYA's Enterprise Program, the GYP Great Program, as well as the Life Wrap Program, a program I've shared with the Commission that provides rental subsidies to families, as well as helping them get to become self-sufficient. She works with our CRAP program, which provides housing vouchers to much-needed individuals who are homeless and that are youth, and she'll continue to work on our youth special projects. I'd like to welcome Rita as well.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you too. Thank you very much for all the work you're doing. That is great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next.
Okay, next, item 3, upcoming council agenda items.
Thank you, President Meek, members of the commission. We have a busy day tomorrow. We have 4 items on the council agenda, 3 consent items and 1 action item. The first one is Supportive Services Program grant funds from County of Los Angeles Aging and Disabilities Department. Motion authorizing acceptance of grant funds from County of Los Angeles Aging and Disabilities Department in the amount of $45,000 for the Supportive Services Program for fiscal year 2023-2024. Our second item is Amendment 10 for fiscal year 2023-2024. Los Angeles County Aging and Disabilities Department baseline funding allocation for $431,000 for our elderly nutritional meals program. Our third item is for request for approval of submission of Verdugo Workforce Development Board's application for approval for local area subsequent designation and local board certification. That's with our Verdugo Job Center. And our action item is the replacement of gas-powered landscape maintenance equipment with zero-emission battery-powered equipment for all park facilities in the city of Glendale to achieve Green Zone certification. This is a resolution establishing standardization of manufacturers, dispensing with competitive bidding, and authorizing the purchasing administrator to issue a purchase order to B&M Lawn and Garden in the amount of $208,355 for the purchase of Stihl and Husqvarna brand battery-operated landscape maintenance equipment.
Okay, thank you. Next.
Item 4, commission staff comments.
Do we have any comments? Not at this time. Wait, one moment.
I will just share that recently council adopted, I believe it was council, right? A program for expanding our student commissioners and including, I believe, 1 seat for our 2 seats for our commission here, and the applications are open. So I just wanted to make that announcement, and you can find information about that on the Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission website. If you just Google it, it'll definitely pop up. But the deadline is fast approaching. It's July 1st. So anyone who is in a high school level or above and under the age of 25 can apply. And again, information is online. That's it.
Thank you. Next item.
Next is item 5, oral communications. We don't have any cards or callers. Item 6, consent items. At A, approval of the minutes of the commission regular meeting held on May 15, 2023.
Do I have any? Does it need a roll call?
Yeah,
Okay.
motion and second.
Yeah, I can move to approve the minutes of the commission meeting held on May 15th, 2023.
I will second.
Okay, roll call?
Commissioners Alcazar,
Yes.
Galfeyan,
Yes.
Starter Begin is absent, Wolfson,
Abstain.
and President Meek.
Yes.
Item 7, reports information only. At A is 2022 Continuum of Care Program Award of Funds and City of Glendale's 2023 Homeless Point in Time Count.
Not on. Let's see. Hello? I think it's on.
It's on now.
Okay, yes. Okay, we're good. There we go. Okay, so I'll jump right into the presentation. Before I break into the homeless count results, I also wanted to inform the commission about our 2022 Notice of Funding Opportunity Competition. Each year, the City of Glendale, our Parks Department, applies for the Continuum of Care Program funds. It's a little over $2.7 million that we apply for, and this funding helps secure funds for our existing continuum of care projects. We have permanent supportive housing projects, we have rental assistance programs, and a rapid rehousing program, along with funds to help us out with our homeless management information systems, which is a software that the city utilizes to capture all of the data for our clients who are experiencing homelessness. So this year we did secure the $2.7 million again. We go through a very tough, actually, competition process each year, and thankfully we were awarded the $2.7 million. We've got the list of projects up there for you, and I'm happy to answer any questions at the end regarding all of the projects. Now on to the homeless count. So each year, the City of Glendale conducts the Homeless Point in Time count. This is a count of our unsheltered and sheltered homeless population. And this year, the count took place on January 26th. I wanted to actually thank President Meek and Commissioner Alcazar, who were able to help us out on the night of the count and on the morning of the count on January 26th. And we do this by going out into the community with a group of volunteers. Our Glendale Police Department, our Information Services Department helps us put together a mobile survey that we are able to utilize to capture data from our unsheltered neighbors. And we do this every year because it's required by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. In order for the city to continue receiving the $2.7 million in grant funds, this is one of the requirements, but that's not the only reason why we do this. It is a great opportunity for the community to come together and engage with our unhoused neighbors, and it brings in a group of volunteers, and it creates other opportunities for partnerships and just ongoing commitment for our homeless response system from our volunteers. We do this annually. We're not required by HUD to do an unsheltered count annually, but we do it anyway because it does give us a little bit of information, and it does allow us to connect with the individuals that are experiencing homelessness. There was a 13% reduction this year, decrease in our homeless count. Last year, we accounted for 225 unduplicated homeless individuals and families. This year, we had 195. So there was a slight reduction. But what we did this year, which was a little bit unique, and we haven't done this in the past, we felt that it was important to also pull in data from our homeless management information system, our HMIS system, to kind of be able to capture and compare our homeless count numbers versus the numbers that we're able to pull from our year-round data. These are individuals that are being housed through our agencies, that our Glendale Police Department outreach team is coming across and completing intakes and assessments for. Because one of the things with the homeless count, it's wonderful that we're able to do it every year. It does give us some insight on what's happening in our community, but it doesn't capture everyone that's coming through our homeless response system. We may miss individuals or families on the day or night of the count. So we felt that it was also important to start looking at our year-round data to pull in some information. So as you can see, we did this for the unsheltered population. Based on our our HMIS data, we had 289 unhoused individuals that we came across and families during our year-round outreach program. And if you compare that to the night of the count, we had about 89 that we captured. So there's a significant difference there. And then the other piece to this as well is out of the 289, when we're able to look up the clients in the system, we are noticing that a lot of our clients are actually coming to us from the LA COC or surrounding cities or surrounding COCs. So we're kind of sharing the same list of clients that are accessing our system. So that's also really important to highlight. Some key findings, we had 103, and during the 2022 homeless count, we had 123 unsheltered individuals and families. This year, we had 89. So there was a 14% reduction there. And in terms of the shelter count, we did notice a 13% reduction there. 54 of the clients that we accounted for were coming to us from the emergency shelter, and 52 were in transitional housing programs. That is a significant number. One thing that we did notice was we had an uptick in the number of clients in our transitional housing programs that were DV, domestic victims of domestic violence or fleeing, which was, something I wanted to point out, very concerning. This does not include individuals and families who are doubled up. So we are not able to capture families and individuals who are in a situation where they're at the risk of becoming homeless, but aren't quite there yet. So these could be folks who are in a hotel, motels, staying with family or friends. So this is just the sheltered count of those who are in our existing programs and on the streets on the night of the count. The chronically homeless population, there was an increase in the unsheltered, about 67%, and a decrease in the sheltered by 59%. So here I also thought it was really important to kind of compare the data that we have in our HMIS system from year-round programs versus on the night of the count. And as you can see, there's a disparity here in terms of the percentage. Based on our HMIS year-round street outreach program, 44% of the folks that enter into our coordinated entry system are chronically homeless. So they do meet this HUD definition of chronically homeless. About 126 were identified as chronically homeless out of the 289 households that were served by our outreach teams. There's a significant difference there. The age, in 2023, about 42%, 89 unsheltered homeless individuals were ages 55 and above. One big thing I also wanted to highlight here is we are seeing an increase in our aging population from those who are 55 years of age and above. That seems to be a trend in and not just unique to the Glendale COC, but overall across the board in Southern California and all the other COCs. We are actually seeing this trend where we're finding that those who are 55 and above are experiencing homelessness. There was a 20% decrease in our homeless individuals, so households without any children, family members, whereas the households with children, it was pretty consistent, about 1% increase since 2022. But this is another area that I also wanted to highlight. We are seeing a significant increase in overall, just in general, with youth under 18. They make up the largest percentage of the sheltered homeless population and are primarily members of DV, families who are fleeing domestic violence or have had a history of DV. That's something that we're keeping a very close eye on here in Glendale as well. We are seeing an increase in those numbers in our community. So I'm just going to go over this very briefly. As you all know, on the survey, we can't force individuals or families to answer certain questions. We try to get as much information as we possibly can, but sometimes, if it's 5 a.m. and you're approaching someone, it's not always best to ask certain questions. But based on the responses that we received on the surveys, we do have some information in terms of health conditions or self-reported severe mental health issues or substance abuse disorders. About 15% reported having physical disability along with severe mental illness. About 10% of those that did answer or respond to the surveys reported having some type of chronic health condition, and 7% reported having developmental disability, and then 2% reported having AIDS or HIV, and 51%, they did not respond to the survey question, which is understandable, and it does happen from year to year. The veterans, we identified 5 males and 1 female. 67% of that number, they did identify as chronically homeless. So the veterans in our community that we came across this year have been in our community for quite some time, or they've been in and out of housing. There's, recidivism that happens with our chronically homeless population. It was very surprising to see some of our same folks on the street, but we are prioritizing housing placement and supportive services for those that we did encounter on the night of the count. Okay. Gender demographics, there was a 27% decrease in the male homeless population and a 17% decrease in the female homeless population, and we had the same number of self-identified transgender homeless. So just wanted to quickly highlight that, age demographics. So a large portion, a great majority of those that we accounted for on the night of the count, we kind of broke this out by race and ethnicity. About 74% identified as white. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. Yes. I'm sorry, I kind of got confused there with my slides. So 71% identified as white, 59% identified as white in the unsheltered category. We broke this out for you, sheltered and unsheltered. But one thing that I wanted to highlight was the Black and African Americans they're comprised of 2% of the overall population in Glendale based on the US Census, the 2020 American Community Survey. However, on the night of the count, they were overrepresented. About 20% of the 195 that we accounted for fell into this category, the BIPOC group. So that was something we wanted to mention. And also Latinos and Hispanics also experience homelessness at a disproportional rate. And they were about 44%. So we just kind of wanted to highlight that. They represent 18% of the general population, whereas 44% were identified on the night of the count. Other key findings, 38% of the respondents reportedly became homeless for the first time in the city, and 55% of the 89 respondents reported becoming homeless in Glendale. And we also listed some of the main factors that contributed to their the homelessness. 24% loss of employment, 21% was due to rent increase, 18% due to divorce and separation, and 16% were due to unexpected illness. And 25% of the unsheltered persons have lived in Glendale for 10 plus years. And again, we wanted to kind of mention this again, the 65 and older population stand out from this group, with 11 out of the 22 respondents, 50%, being in the age group 65 and older. So we see a trend there too with the aging population. Similar to last year, during this year's count, we did have some hotspots in the community. We do find that it's mainly centralized in our downtown area with, the Glendale Central Library, the Adult Recreation Center, very close to the Americana, Central Park area. That's where we tend to see most of our unsheltered population, especially during the morning count. we did come across quite a few individuals who are in that area. So we have increased our outreach efforts in the area, hoping to connect with the individuals to get them into some type of housing and connected to services. This year, what we also did was we plugged in a question on our survey for the unsheltered population. As you all know, the City of Glendale is in the process of completing its first annual action plan. And so we held a series of community meetings. We had about 5 or 6 community meetings that were held. And unfortunately, we didn't get a great turnout from those with lived experience or those who are currently experiencing homelessness. So we thought, okay, we can at least plug in a few questions on the survey and have those individuals kind of help us identify what are some of the priorities. So we did provide a list of the current services that the individuals were accessing. I won't go through those, but really some of the top concerns were permanent housing, hotel vouchers for folks who are experiencing homelessness. How quickly can we get them connected to a shelter until they can figure out what the next steps are with their, with the case managers that we have. Shelter beds was another big thing, employment training, mental health, mobile medicine, something that we really want to look into is providing mobile medicine to those who are unsheltered in our community, kind of pairing it with our outreach teams, substance abuse treatment. So there was quite a few responses that we received, but really the top 3 that I would say was permanent housing, permanent supportive housing, hotel vouchers, and how do we secure shelter beds. Okay, and then I'll quickly go through. So the next steps, kind of summarize all the recommendations that we have. There's quite a few, but just based on our homeless count and working with our continuum of care, our collaborative and our agencies, the first recommendation is, increasing city funding or flexible funding sources to help us really develop a robust homeless response system, looking into, for example, Measure S, and also coming up with affordable housing to end homelessness in Glendale, and to really work with the county to increase our Measure H funding that's coming in. How can we get access to more funding and also more flexibility with the strategies that are granted for our city by the county? State funding, we're working very closely with the state to secure funds to help our agencies not only provide rental assistance, but also really increase their intensive case management support to our clients. We actually recently secured funding from the state through the Homeless Housing Incentive Program. It's called HIP funding, where we're already contracting with 2 managed care plans, LA Care and HealthNet, to provide intensive case management support to our clients who are in our existing rental assistance programs here in Glendale. Of course, working continuously to end veterans' homelessness. It is a top priority for us in Glendale. We have been connecting with the Veterans Administration and the Salvation Army to develop some type of a pilot program where we would be increasing outreach and case management support to the downtown Glendale area, where we identified our veterans. And then, of course, developing programs to help end homelessness for our families and our youth. As you can see, there was a high percentage of children who are circulating through our system, in and out of our system, experiencing homelessness. Of course, doing all this with the Housing First approach for the chronically homeless. How can we make our programs more client-centered? How can we help them find their way through our system, our coordinated entry system? And then continuously developing on our outreach program. As you know, we have our outreach program that's operated out of Essentia, a nonprofit here in Glendale, but we also have the Glendale Police Department's outreach program. So we're hoping to actually expand that program, maybe develop mobile street medicine, get other types of supports in place to really help our homeless population. So that sums up my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
First of all, and this was not something that you talked about verbally, but in the staff report, it noted that Glendale is one of only 3 cities in the county to have the COC. I think it is, what are the other 2 cities? I know Los Angeles must be one, but what's the third?
Sure, Commissioner Wolfson. Glendale is one of the 3 that operate their own COC, Pasadena and Long Beach. So it's just us three. All of the other cities kind of fall into the umbrella of the Los Angeles County continuum.
Interesting. Thank you for answering that question. And it occurred to me when you were talking about veterans that are homeless, that there are a number of organizations that are like, you know, charitable organizations that collect money. Have we ever done any work with them, like, say, DAV or any of those groups? Because I think they're really, where DAV used to maybe more run a model of thrift shop donations and that sort of thing. Now I think they're making a big pitch for more monetary donations, and I'm wondering if they might not be interested in partnering.
Sure, Commissioner Wolfson. That's a great point that you bring up, and actually what we're trying to do now is establish those lists of agencies that really are able to pull in and provide support where we can't. We have connected with the Salvation Army. They do have a great program in place for homeless veterans, and we have also met with the Veterans Administration just to kind of see how we can streamline the services. We are putting together a list of agencies that can provide the donations and support, but the other really big piece is the HUD-VASH program, which is essentially like subsidized housing, Section 8 or housing choice voucher, but specifically targeted for veterans. And there's a lot of support out there now through HUD-VASH. They're piloting this program. It's an intensive case management program. So we're trying to see how we can get them to come out into our community, because driving our clients down to the VA or getting our clients to go and get their own IDs, for example, that's where we find it to be challenging. So we need people to come to them. And so we're trying to develop a pilot program where they can do mobile case management on site and even bring out, for example, the DMV. They can print out IDs on the spot for clients, or the Social Security Administration, the Veterans Administration. So we're in the process of developing resources, but in the meantime, we'll be coordinating with the Salvation Army to get them connected.
Thank you for that answer, and I'm sure anything that's going to pop into my head, you guys have already thought of it, but, so thank you so much.
Regina?
Thank you so much for the report. And I just want to, also take a minute to thank all of the volunteers who came out to do the point-in-time count. It was a full-day activity, and the department did a really great job of coordinating the whole entire event. And appreciate the police department as well, who came out to really show us what they do on a regular basis. So. Thank you for adding a little bit more of the demographic information. That was helpful to see. I was pretty shocked to see that the senior count of unsheltered went up, and that's because I think our city does a really great job at providing services for our senior population, and if anything, the priority for our affordable housing projects are for seniors, right? And then I didn't necessarily see any recommendations that targeted that population specifically. So can you talk about maybe some of the other programs that we have planned for specifically senior outreach?
Sure, Commissioner Alcazar. Yes, sometimes what ends up happening is we kind of group all of the population together, all the subpopulations as well, but that's a very good point and something that we should probably look at, adding additional recommendations. But in the meantime, we are prioritizing the aging population through our coordinated entry system. So anyone who comes through our CES system, which the lead agency is Ascensia currently, we do an assessment, and we do kind of this prioritization based on age and other conditions, vulnerabilities, disability and all that. So currently our emergency housing voucher program, which is very similar to Section 8, the housing choice voucher program, we are prioritizing those that are in the aging population group, not just those who are unsheltered, but seniors who find themselves in a situation where they're going to become homeless at the risk. Thankfully, we have community members who connect with us in advance. We try to outreach to that group as much as possible, property owners who reach out to us, and we do immediately connect those groups to our emergency housing voucher program. We have been very successful in ensuring that those individuals do get prioritized and placed. So in the meantime, that is just one program, but we're in the process of updating our assessment and matching process. We're currently working with HUD to come up with updated policies and procedures on that too. And this is, the aging population is something that we're going to be looking and kind of combining that into the assessment tools to make sure we capture anyone who comes into contact with staff, frontline staff.
Okay, that's great to hear. I was also happy to see that there was a question that specifically asked the folks who are experiencing homelessness, sort of like what they want to see with support. And, you know, it's just, you know, the fact that they sort of validated our approach of the Housing First model is great to hear. And you did also mention other sort of like growing target populations like the chronically homeless folks, that number is kind of going up. Our youth, which, you know, there was a specific recommendation for that. There are disparities with our Black community and Latinx Hispanic communities who are experiencing homelessness, at least compared to our demographics in the city. And I know, you know, you're currently updating, you said our annual action plan, our first one, right, which is very exciting. Do you have a timeline for that?
June 30th.
Okay.
The goal, we're in the final stages, so our consultant is working on the actual report, but we will definitely present it. The draft, at least, will be presented to commission, and we are working on it, though. So hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have the draft completed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Thank you.
You had mentioned that Essentia and the police department. Now, I'd heard something about you've expanded the police presence in helping the homeless. Is that true? There was, I think Officer Kim was the only person doing it. Is there more doing it now?
President Meek, the core unit, the community outreach and engagement team, they actually have 7 officers who work with this unit. They do alternate, so they're not always working at the same time, but they are scheduled to work during certain days. We do have the expanded outreach, which they do weekends and evening hours. That's something that they normally weren't doing, but thanks to our CARES Act funding that we recently received from HUD 2 years ago during COVID, they were able to expand that outreach program to serve weekends and evenings. So it is Officer Kim, but along with him, there are 7 other officers who work specifically with our unsheltered population.
That's great.
We're just hoping to expand that further, maybe bring in mobile medicine and other types of support for the team.
And is there anything that citizens can do, like if they see someone who's homeless, how do they report that?
Sure, we do have a flyer on our website, which provides information for PD's outreach team, Essensia's outreach team, and then Home Again LA here in Glendale, a nonprofit. They also do outreach for homeless families. So we do have that flyer on our website, but of course they can always call our office 548-2000 and ask to speak with me if they have any questions, or they can go directly to Essentia. They do have information on their website and on their Instagram, Facebook, social media. They would be able to get in contact with outreach teams to come out.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure. And Commissioner Alcazar, I did want to thank all the volunteers. I usually start off by thanking. Today I forgot. This is a huge effort. It takes a lot of work, and we wouldn't be able to do it without our incredible volunteers and our organizations who help put, hygiene kits and blankets. This year, Dignity Health and their team, they were able to donate, Glendale Leadership. So a huge thank you to everyone that helps us out, the Glendale Police Department, and of course our information services team too, for helping us prepare the survey. So thank you all.
Thank you very much. Okay, next item on the agenda.
Next is 7B, Capital Improvement Program, CIP update.
President Meek, members of the commission, I'd like to invite Joe Gonzalez to give us the update on our CIP program.
Hello, thank you. Is this on? Okay, great, thank you. Good afternoon, President Meek, commissioners. Again, my name is Joseph Gonzalez, park planner, and I'm here to provide the capital improvement program update. The last time Community Services and Parks provided this update was last October. I believe we were meant to come back this last April, but the meeting was canceled, and then we chose to prioritize giving the update on the parks and open space elements update, and so now we're here to provide the update today. So regarding completed projects, we did want to note since last October, we have completed the Pelanconi Park and Glen Oaks Park playground replacement project, and so you see they are located on the east and west side of the city. The scope of that replacement was to replace the aging playground equipment, also to provide improvements to the accessibility around the playgrounds, also to provide shade canopies over those playground areas. At Pelanconi Park, we did provide a new seat wall, and at Glen Oaks Park, we did provide a new zip track. So 2 new features at those parks. Budgets for both projects was over $500,000, with Pelanconi receiving CDBG funds and CIP funds, and Glen Oaks received Measure A and CIP funds. So as I had mentioned, both projects are completed. Here you can see Pelanconi Park, the theme playground that was installed. You can see the port-in-place safety surfacing, or rubberized surfacing on the bottom, and then you can see it actually has a separated canopy structures separate from the playground, and then the shade sails. And then you can see here at Glen Oaks Park, again, a themed playground. And this one on the top right, you can see the zip track, which is a new feature that's very popular. Projects that are currently in construction phase, we wanted to highlight the security fencing upgrades project. You can see those projects are located throughout the city. The update for the Doctor's House at Brand Park and Wilson's Mini Park, those fences have been installed, and you can see the wrought iron fence at the Doctor's House on the right. The Shaw Ball Fields fencing is being assessed now. And then Pacific Park will require some additional engineering because it will heighten the height of the fence or raise the height of the fence, and so that will require additional footings. And so it does require some additional structural engineering. So that's underway. Projects that are permit ready, we have 4, and that's the Sports Complex Field number 3, Fremont Park project, and then 2 court resurfacing, one at Emerald Isle Park and then at Pacific Park. At the Sports Complex Field number 3, artificial turf project, it will replace the field or convert the existing baseball field to a multi-purpose field, and you can see the overlay of the soccer field and the outfield, so that you can see the 2 fields in light brown out in the green, if you can see that. So this project was allocated $250,000. The drawings are completed now, and it is permit ready. And so for this fiscal year, it was awarded $1.75 million to move forward into implementation. For Fremont Park renovation, you can see the full renovation master plan on the right, and it includes new community buildings, new artificial turf soccer field, a splash pad, the picnic pavilions, additional parking spaces, the addition of 2 dual-use basketball and pickleball courts, walking paths. It did relocate 4 tennis courts, which are those ones with the pink trees around it. And then it does replace the existing children's playground. And then also includes lighting enhancements and new landscaping. The current escalated construction hard costs are just under $20 million. And the total anticipated construction costs, including soft costs, is just over $25 million. And so that includes with the construction management, the additional design and engineering and permitting that's still required to get that project to and through construction. Currently, the project is budgeted a little over $13 million in CIP, Measure S, and development impact fee funds. In terms of updates, one bullet we just didn't mention here was in January, the city did receive 5 bids that were all deemed to be unresponsive. And so in March, the City Council authorized a Director of Public Works or his designee to negotiate a contract with one or more of the contractors that did submit a bid. And so those negotiations are underway. And then staff, both Public Works and Community Services and Parks are working with the City Manager's Office to identify the additional funding for the project, and then we'll take the award of the negotiated contract to the City Council once that's ready, and the new appropriations as needed. And we're still hoping for the construction to start either late summer, early fall, and we'll keep you posted on the tentative start of that project.
On the Fremont Park, the photovoltaic, the solar panels, where were those going to be placed?
President Meek, members of the commission, the idea with the solar panels is to place them in the parking lot, kind of like canopies, where you collect carport style. That's the intent moving forward. This original layout did not have that, but as we move forward and looking for opportunities to increase our solar panels within our facilities, we identified the parking lot to be an ideal location for this. And if we move forward, we're looking at working with Glendale Water and Power to help us pay for the solar panel installation through their funds.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that question. So going to the court resurfacing, at Pacific Park, we will be resurfacing the existing basketball court, which is in the photo on the right of the slide. You can see there's already a pickleball being played on those basketball courts, and so we do want to resurface it to prioritize the pickleball play courts on top of the basketball courts, but with the lining or the striping for the basketball court on top of it. And then also striping for 2 additional pickleball courts, which you can see in the background that are informally being played in that space. So we do want to formalize that. And then at Emerald Isle Park, we will be resurfacing and striping the existing 2 tennis courts. And then there is a half-court basketball court that's there that we will be resurfacing and then replacing that hoop that's there because it's pretty dated. The budget for this is $44,444, and we'll be utilizing CIP unanticipated funds and operational costs. We have 9 projects that are in planning and design phase. That includes 2 at Pacific Park, Central Park Master Plan, Verdugo Park North renovation, Emerald Isle playground replacement, the ADA improvements and the ADA and restroom improvements at Babe Herman, the Glorieta concession building renovations, the dog park feasibility study, and then Dunsmore Park. And you see those are spread throughout the city. Starting with Pacific Park Natural Grass Project, this was originally scoped as an artificial turf multi-purpose field, and would include kind of the overlays in the outfield with the soccer fields, but last year, council directed us to rescope this as a natural grass baseball field, which will require new drainage system and grading and new irrigation and sod installation. And the fencing and bullpens and gates is continuing on from the previous scope, but this will have to be redesigned. And so at the end of last year, we did get a revised proposal from David Volt's Designs to update the design to natural turf. City Council approved the realignment of CDBG funds for this project on June 6th. And lastly, we're about to execute the contract with DVD to start that work. So we had that pause for the fiscal year end, and so we did submit that today to get executed. This project budget is being funded with CDBG funds and DIF funds, noting that the DIF funds will have to be swapped out now because with the revised scope, we're not providing new amenities anymore, and so that funding is a bit restrictive in requiring new amenities. So we will have to swap that funding out as well when we go into construction. And here is the design of the previously, the original scoped project. Just noting that the smaller soccer field will not be in the final layout of the natural grass project. The Pacific Park Shade Water Play Feature and Restroom Renovation Project includes a new shade structure over both park playgrounds, which is both for the 2 to 5-year-old playground and the 5 to 12-year-old playground. Refurbishment of the existing shade structures at the pool area, as well as new shade structures around the pool. It will include a new and enhanced water play feature, which will have a water treatment system and a recycling system associated with it, so that will be an upgrade to that system. It will also require the renovation of the existing restroom, also including a new outdoor shower to support the water play feature. And an addenda we just added while it was out to RFP with the approval of this year's CIP was the addenda for the renovation of the pool area concrete deck, the pool coping, and the full replastering of the pool. So the budget for this project is 1.44 million in CDBG and CIP funds. Just for the update since October, the City Council did approve project plans and specifications on November 1st. And January 29th, staff rejected the RFP proposals that were received in December 21st, 2022. I believe those were also deemed unresponsive. And so they did release a second round RFP, which closed on June 14th. And so Public Works staff is currently reviewing those bids, and we're anticipating that by September, that construction will begin.
Joe, just a point of clarification. If you go back to the slide, the November 1 is actually 2022. I'm sure you realize that. We're not moving forward. This was from last year when the specs were adopted by council. The report highlights that correctly.
Yes, sees that mistake. And here you can see the shade structures over the playgrounds. And then here you can see conceptually the curved shade structures. I believe these have been converted now to flat shade structures of the new ones. But the existing ones are curved like this, and they will be refurbishing those as well. And then the new restroom facility. Let's see. So going to the Central Park Master Plan. So this is the complete reimagining of the Central Park site, bounded by Central Library, and will be the location of the future Armenian American Museum, a 59,000 square foot museum and education center, and will include a playground, paseo, central lawn, open space for diverse events. So far, it's $2,150,000 is budgeted for through the Development Impact Fees Fund, and so far, since 2022 July, Public Works did issue an RFP for this work, and in November, City Council did approve David Volt's design to complete the design development drawings and then provide through construction admin services. And so that work actually kicked off on March 16th, and they're anticipating that the construction drawings will be completed by December. And here you can see the updated Central Park Master Plan that DVD has updated. So this is the, from concept, they've now updated the design to go towards design development level of completion. And so they did have to tweak some conceptual elements that were identified, and we're working with Public Works to finalize these drawings. Verdugo Park North renovation. This will replace the existing outdated playground with a meditation maze. It will also replace the restroom building with a new restroom building and small community room. It also requires some ADA improvements, and it will replace the existing community garden with a new community garden area with more raised plots, which has been completed now. And separately, we just also wanted to highlight that the Arts and Culture Commission has approved the Verdugo Park mural for the park's south restroom. So for the Verdugo Park North renovation, there has been $3,015,040 in CIP and DIF funds allocated. And we anticipate that the next submittal of this design will be submitted for permit approvals in July, at the end of July. And so we're hoping this will be permit ready very soon. And as a reminder, here's the design that includes the meditation maze, the ADA improvements, and the building improvements. And then
Which is the new building?
So, is there a pointer? It is the outline there
on the right.
Yeah, it won't show. If you put the laser, it's probably not going to show on the screen. So President Meek, it is what you see on the far right end. That is the new community/restroom building, which, is going in the existing space, taking up the same exact room as the current building in the patio area that's there, the restroom building.
Okay, thank you.
And then here you can see the mural on the south restroom. So for the Emerald Isle Playground Replacement Project, this project will replace the aging playground at Emerald Isle Park. It will also improve the accessibility route from the parking lot to the playground at the park, and also include shade structures over the playground area. This project is budgeted $864,626 in CIP, General Fund, and Quimby funds from the city, and also a state parks grant for $177,952. There was also a game time grant that's being applied directly to the cost of the equipment. In May 2023, the City Council approved design and the purchase install of the playground and ADA improvements. And we were just waiting for the fiscal year-end blackout period to open back up to submit the purchase order to initiate this work. So that should be starting very soon.
And Joe, if I may add, if Commission remembers, we brought this project to you in February with the intent of taking it to Council in March for approval. As we proceeded with the design with our Public Works folks, with our friends at Building and Safety, I should say, they identified some challenges with the ADA path of travel from the parking lot. So we had to go back to the designer and ask for a revised proposal to incorporate changes to their design to include parking lot ADA improvements as well as the path of travel to the playground, and with that, we're able to go to council in May and get it approved. We, a couple of months behind, but we wanted to make sure once this goes to permitting, it goes a lot faster because Building and Safety has already had a chance to review it initially.
Thank you.
And here you can see the design of the playground. So the Bay Perman Field restroom ADA improvements. So this will be the complete rehabilitation of the existing restroom, and then there are some ADA improvements from the parking lots that's just adjacent to the restroom and path to the restroom itself. The current budget is $300,000 in Measure A funds, but we have requested an increase in Measure A funds to $450,000 because we anticipate that the cost will exceed the $300,000 based on construction costs we've seen on recent projects. So status on that, we did release an RFP in March, and we have recommended an award. And so that process, again, is just waiting to execute the agreement and move that project forward. And so here's the restroom. Glorieta Tennis Concession Building renovation. So this will be the complete renovation of the existing tennis building and also the site ADA improvements. We anticipate $725,000 in costs, and so that's allocated in Measure S funds. And David Volz has that contract, and they anticipate completing drawings by the end of this month. And so here you can see the updated design on the right as of this month. And so they're still finalizing drawings, but you can see the existing building. On the right, it actually gets a bit wider. It includes a restroom now. If you look at the building itself, it will include a viewing area for parents to watch tennis matches indoors, and then the concession area on the left. So some additional amenities to this park. It is a simplified and more modern design with a slanted roof, which matches the utility building that's nearby.
Will it cause the tennis park to close at that time?
President Meek, as far as during construction, there may be a need to work with the concessionaire because the building will not be available. So we have to work out a way to see if the tennis courts can remain open because they have access from another area, and whether the concession would like to continue operating when the building is taken down. So that is something we'll be working through as we get to the point of construction. And we'll make sure Commission is aware of that process and how it's going to play out once we have construction drawings ready and we go out to bid.
Do you think that'll start yet this year? Or?
Given where we are right now, if we get the drawings completed by the end of July, the process of permit reviews and having it bid, it is probably this fiscal year. I say this fiscal year as in this coming fiscal year, we should have the bidding process commenced. Let's say within 6 months, December, it is probably we can start December, January construction if everything flows the way we anticipate it to flow.
Thank you.
Thank you for that feedback. For the dog park project, the goal of this project will be to construct the city's first dog park. One potential location has been identified, which is the city's parking lot 11 on Colorado Street. As part of the scope, we also included a feasibility study for the potential of a dog park at 3 additional locations, which is at Palmer Park, Brand Park, and Glendale Community College, the Garfield campus site. It was budgeted $350 in DIF funds. But council approved the first $60,000 to perform the feasibility study first. And so they just wanted to look at additional sites before finalizing on which site should be prioritized to move forward. So we received that direction in March. We had our kickoff with the selected design consultant, RJM Design Group, last month, and they are preparing now the outreach meetings for the dog park feasibility study. So we'll provide that update, I guess, next month to let you know about upcoming meetings for this feasibility. And last project to highlight on this list was the Dunsmore Park parking lot resurfacing project. So in this spring, Public Works staff was evaluating the site to combine this proposed resurfacing project with a solar development project in the parking lot. But in late April, Public Works determined that the solar project would not move forward at this location at this time. And so we're still waiting for direction on whether or not to move this project forward as we've scoped it. We have budgeted 1.1 million in CIP funds, and so we're waiting on direction on whether or not to move this project forward. And then just highlighting projects that are environmental phase, which are Cerritos Elementary School multipurpose field and the Wilson Middle School multipurpose field. And so for Cerritos, this would be the replacement of their turf field to an artificial turf multipurpose field with lighting and a rubberized track around it, and would reconfigure the school playground and upgrade the existing restroom. This is budgeted 3.4 million in DIF funds. At this point, we're still waiting for direction on from GUSD on whether to move this project forward, but you can see the design here. And similarly for Wilson Middle School, it would be the replacement of the natural turf field to an artificial multi-purpose field and additionally a practice field. It would regrade and renovate the school's basketball courts and provide a new restroom building. This one's estimated at 5 million, and we had allocated that budget in DIF funds. And again, we're waiting for direction from GUSD on moving forward with this project. And then just lastly, just highlighting the approved projects for community services and parks for our capital improvement program for fiscal year 23-24. 10 projects were approved, and they include for the land acquisition for new parks, Adams Square playground replacement, the planning for the Cerritos splash pad and restroom replacement, the citywide picnic table replacement project, and then we mentioned the Pacific Community Pool replastering and deck. This has now been combined with the shade structure project, and since it was approved, we coordinated with Public Works to include that in their bid. The Civic Auditorium wood flooring replacement is the 6th project that was approved. 7th is the Pacific Edison School artificial turf multipurpose field design. 8th was the parks unanticipated repairs. The 9th was the sports complex field replacement, which was the 1.75 million. And then lastly, the Pacific Natural Grass Project, and I believe this was replacing the DIF funds. So that concludes my overview of the CIP program update, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Susan?
Hi, these are more in the way of comments. But first of all, I want to say I really like the new fence around the doctor's house. I think it's very consistent architecturally with the style, and I like that a lot, so thank you. And I want to say also for Central Park, I'm hoping that we've still got about 40,000 square feet of open space there, and I'm hoping that'll be kind of sacrosanct from this point on. I'm really happy about the museum getting started. I was one of the people that wanted to see it at the further north location, but I certainly wanted to see it happen in the city, and so I'm happy that it's happening. But I hope that we'll preserve that Great Lawn and the other open space, because we need open space in that area. And finally, I just wanted to say that the Verdugo Park mural is a little loud for my taste, but this is the Parks Commission, so I'll keep my mouth shut. Thank
President
you.
Meek, members of the commission, as it relates to the open space in Central Park, our intent with the design for development actually maintains the intent of the original master planning of keeping the open lawn space and then the landscaping throughout the park that gives you a lot more open space than the very original layout that we had. It's removing all of the parking areas, the asphalt areas, and it may not look so, but it does maintain a great majority of the open space that was originally intended for the project through the master planning process. As far as the Verdugo mural, we brought that to commission for approval. There were 2 options for commission to review and approve, and that was the commission's recommendation. So the Communities, Parks, Recreation, Community Service Commission did have an opportunity to choose this
God, I don't remember.
layout and the colors.
It's okay, it is what it is. It's probably going to look great when it's installed in the setting. It's just like the picture looks so loud. But anyhow,
Thank you for the update. I just had one comment, which I'm sure maybe a few of you might know what it's about, but to expand on the public art piece, I don't necessarily see, didn't see that component in this report. I would love, again, for the Library Arts and Cultural Department to maybe come in and share some of their updates of what they plan to do and propose within our parks. Because again, that was one of the big recommendations from the Glendale Public Art Master Plan, was as a sort of low-hanging fruit, easy accomplishment we can do in the near future is just installing public art across our parks. And I'm hoping that maybe some of these in the plans that are still in the conceptual phase, like maybe the Central Park Master Plan, I do see, some color there, so maybe that's public art. But I'm hoping that, we can kind of contract with an artist ahead of time before everything's finalized and not just kind of put something on a podium and then call it public art,
Commissioner Meek, members of the commission, the Library Arts and Culture Commission has already secured an artist to add art as part of the construction project for Central Park. So
Amazing.
I know Gary and his team are working with an artist. So,
Yeah, and to add to that, original meeting we had, the artist was with us in the meeting, identified some opportunities, not only an actual large art piece, but incorporate art as part of the different designs, the elements within the park. So Central Park will have a number of opportunities for art, and the artist, as Mr. Billina said, is already on board with that. Similarly, Fremont has a number of opportunities for art. We're working with the Library Arts and Culture Department. As of the last few months, we've established a quarterly meeting with the team at Library Arts and Culture to look for those opportunities, as you suggested. Look for what are some of the future ideas they have for incorporating arts in the parks. And there's a number they present to us, and we're evaluating, working together, so that it's not a last-minute addition, but pre-planned and determined items for master planning, designs, and opportunities. Anytime there's an opportunity that we can incorporate that in the mix. So your recommendations from past meetings are well taken, and we're incorporating into our designs as we move forward.
Amazing. That's music to my ears. Thank you.
Era?
I'm very happy to see all the improvements are going ahead with all the plans that we have over the years. But my question is, are there other parks that we're not we can improve also for the neighbors to use it?
Well, I know we'd identify those pairs in the new CIP. So I would point to, I know we last year.
So, President Meek, members of the commission, there is a number of ways we look at identifying which parks we should address next as far as improvements. One is conditions of the facility. If the condition starts deteriorating, becomes high priority, especially safety and health hazards becoming an issue, concern, we prioritize those projects to present to council as ideal items to move forward first. Some go to programming when we see a need, a high demand, and a need by the community for new amenities. And programming, we look at identifying those as programming as priorities as well. And also towards the end, we look at all park facilities and look at general areas of those parks. When the last time that park received any renovation, and we start focusing on parks that have not received upgrades and renovations. Sometimes the smaller parks, it could very well be just a landscape enhancement, which my team will take on under our project crew. Sometimes requires capital funding because of structures and or major renovations that are required. Hence, we go through the process. So for now, for the next year, we have a number of projects that we've already identified to move forward. And we've also identified a list of parks that we will be bringing forth in the future for capital projects. However, as we recall, we're going to release the RFP we released in the master planning of the recreation element, and that is going to bring the community's input as to what they feel is most necessary. It could be just identifying parks that need renovation. We'll incorporate into the larger plan and get approval by this body as well as, city council. And they may identify other opportunities or needs within the community, which we will again go through this body as well as commission for approval. So opportunities for the community will be there to identify specific parks and or types of amenities they need, so we can prioritize those as we move forward in our plan, capital projects plan.
We have a plan, we have a list of all the parks that we need to improve at this time.
Commissioner Kalfayan, we have identified some of amenities in certain parks that need improvement. We'll bring those forth through the process when we improve, when we do the element, recreation element, and identify these are some current existing issues within our infrastructure, and then put those in the mix as well for consideration and discussion. Also, our Public Works, Friends in Public Works are also doing an infrastructure study to see which infrastructures within our parks and within the city are in need of improvement that need to be prioritized. We'll be incorporating that, as Mr. Gonzalez had mentioned, within recreation element update that we're doing. So it'll be a combination of what Public Works identifies as facility, combination of health and safety hazards, combination of community input, demand from the community of what we need, as well as this body's direction to council and council's approval.
How about the equipment? Like, are we replacing equipment that needs to be replaced in the older parks?
Commissioner Kalfan, if you're referring to playground equipment, yes, we are identifying the equipment that are the oldest and has the most use and most in need of replacement, and hence every year we bring to you a new design for replacement. So we've been replacing the ones that have been aged. Emerald Isle was 20 years old. With your blessing, we moved forward and got council's approval to move that forward. Right now, we looked at Adams Square Mini Playground. It is about 15, 16 years old. And we're also looking at incorporating shade based on community input. So in the next few months, once this budget becomes, July 1 becomes available for us, we'll look at bringing some options for commissions and, a review. Of course, during that process, we'll reach out to the homeowner association like we did with Emerald Isle, say, hey, these are some designs, please give us feedback, what you like to see here, and then bring those to this body as well as to council. But yes, we're looking at prioritizing the oldest and ones that are in most need. Sometimes we have an older playground that is still in great shape, doesn't have a lot of wear and tear on there, versus a playground that is much younger per se, not as old, but is in desperate need of replacement. We'll like to prioritize those because of the safety elements involved.
I would like to ask several questions. During the Adams Square, are we working with Public Works, because I know they're going to do the historic gas station work at that? Are you going to coordinate doing both of those at the same time?
President Meek, the timeline may not coordinate during their improvement of the building because we can separate the two. And since playground projects we're managing ourselves in-house, Mr. Gonzalez and myself working together, we may not need to get Public Works involved in the playground replacement project. And not to delay further the roof replacement project, we'd like for them to proceed as they already have the plans going out through the process, identifying a contractor to do it. We'd like for them to proceed with that project and then separate out the playground. Because the playground might require some more input by the community, the homeowner association, and design approval by this body and council. We could put them together, yet we prefer to keep them separate, only because we'll be managing the playground project, Public Works will be managing the roof replacement, and the timeline of that is a lot further ahead than our process for the playground.
Okay, thank you. I also, on the Cerritos Park and the Wilson Middle School, those two elements, will there be public access to those playgrounds?
The Wilson and Cerritos, that's a great question. I was going to say there are no playgrounds, but the Cerritos Elementary does have a playground. And this is part of the discussion we're having with Glendale Unified School District. We've had a number of meetings in the past when we went with Commission's recommendation to halt the artificial turf project, to further studies, come back with a report. And, with Council's adoption now, that artificial turf field will be moving forward at 2 of our facilities, natural grass at 1. We are now bringing these 2 projects back to start the discussion with Glendale Unified as to how do we move forward, how do we create a joint use agreement, because once we open that gate and allow access to the artificial turf field, the playground will be a part of it. So we're going to close off the school, which is going to be the north end of the play area, yet allow the public access to the playground at this particular facility. So as far as Cerritos goes, yes, it'll be part of the discussion to keep it open for the community to use. They'll have 2 playgrounds as well as an artificial turf field and all the other amenities you see on the screen. As far as the Wilson one, the location of Wilson will have the basketball courts and a new restroom building, of course, and then the 2 soccer fields. So all that area will be open for the community's use. The school itself, access to the school, we're looking at keeping restricted to, have a little control as to what we can allow people to have access to.
Okay, so Wilson will have a separate bathroom that the public could use. That's great.
Correct.
That's
If you
what's
look at the
needed.
screen, President Meek, if you look at the screen, the little square blue building down in the corner is the original. These are the conceptual designs. The conceptual designs location for what we feel we need as a restroom building for this particular use. So individuals using the field afternoons, evenings, and on the weekends don't need access to the school. They can actually use a building structure that is separate from the school, the campus itself.
That's good. That's what we need. Could we go back to the Central Park? There. In the upper right, all the colorful areas, is that now going to be open space or is that playground space?
So there's 3 areas that are kind of colorful on this picture. The one that has the blue kind of tone on there, that is going to be the water play feature that we're going to be installing. Right next to it, just south of it, that building structure, which is, I don't even know what color to call it, beige. That is going to be the new restroom building. And the equipment for the recycling of the water and the showers, they're all going to be, placed at that location. Originally, that was a lot further north, adjacent to the library building. With the new layout, we're going to maintain that as green space and shift the building closer for the electrical, plumbing, and all the necessities to make sure the water play feature functions as it is intended to and based on the county guidelines. The 2 colorful areas, those are the 2 playgrounds. The large children's playground, which is 5 to 12, generally speaking, it's recommended to separate them, and then the 2 to 5 in the north of it. So those 2 colorful ones are going to be the playgrounds. The bluish green one is going to be the water play feature. And then the ones that you see, I guess, further south of it, the one in pink, blue, purple, and yellow, those are going to be recreation elements for the seniors. Going to be some ping pong tables, some seating areas. It's just, a little more colorful and artsy in the way
Those will
things
be
are laid out.
outdoors.
Those are outdoors, yes.
And the circle just to the east of the library, which is next to the colorful playground areas, because I can't read the little.
That particular where Joe has the marker, yeah, that is an existing tree that library and everyone would like to maintain. And so we've incorporated in and identified it to be maintained as is and work around it so that to incorporate that as part of the element within the design.
Entry exit point of the library still remain?
It will not be an entry point. It will be only an exit point. The entry points will be maintained at the north and south end of the library. That is at the request of our friends at the Library Arts and Culture Department.
And where are the elements that if somebody comes from the library and wants to sit outside and read?
So the circular tables, what you see in red outside in the front, the intent is over there, and as well as you see down again in the south part of it, outside of the adult recreation center. Those are like tables and umbrellas, and so individuals, if they just want to relax and hang out, get a book from the library, sit outside and read, those will be reading areas. Similarly for the adult recreation center, if seniors want to come on outside and enjoy just the view and the park itself, they can have those picnic areas, the tables and umbrellas to use.
And during this design process that I think Volts is doing, will there be a public input meeting?
So as far as the public input meeting, if you recall, this process went through an extensive master planning and public input and outreach. That process was completed and adopted. So now we're doing the design development phase. It's mostly between the different departments involved as to what elements work well in what location. All of the elements identified by the community are within here. In the general master plan that was adopted, we're still maintaining the intent and the scope of it by making sure we still have the open space, the green space that was originally identified, by adding the playgrounds, the water play features, the new restroom building, as well as the fitness equipment that are in the mix, by having a stage for the library to have Library and us having, major concerts or art events, drama, and of course the main great lawn that can be used for all purposes. So everything that was designed and input, but the community's input that was involved in the master planning are incorporated here. So with the design development, it's a little more technical. So this is now between the consultant and staff to finalize the details of the construction drawings.
Thank you very much.
I remembered a question I had. I'm sorry to go out of turn. I was wondering if do we know why they're not doing solar at the Dunsmore Park? Why Public Works?
President Meek, members of the commission, in the evaluation process of the cost, given the tree canopies and what it would involve to place one over at Dunsmore, I think the determination was we have other opportunities. For example, sports complex is going to be a major one for us. We're looking at alternate sites that can have a better, buck for the money type of an approach. And that's why other facilities within Glendale, including parks, were identified as the canopy. It is not to say that the Dunsmore Park one is completely out of the picture. It's just not moving forward at this time. And given the fact that putting those canopies are going to require trenching, we wanted to halt the Dunsmore surfacing project, the asphalt resurfacing and redoing the parking lot, because we don't want to develop and build a new asphalt parking lot for the community to use and then have to tear it up again to be able to run the conduits. So we looked at combining the two projects, run the conduits, have all the posts ready to go, and then do the asphalt and then put the actual solar panels. I mean, we put a slight halt to that as well, because based on the consultant's recommendations and review by, the parties between the Water and Power and City Manager's Office, the determination was let's wait on this one, move these forward, and that is kind of what we're having discussions with the same parties to figure out, shall we move forward with the resurfacing project at this time and move with the parking lot improvement, which includes some roadside improvements, safety improvements, as far as path of travel for the kids to get to the school. All those are part of that Dunsmore improvement project.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your report. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, please.
Next is item 7C, Workforce Development Section Activity Report.
Good afternoon, President Meek, members of the Commission. My name is Judith Velasco, and I am the Workforce Administrator of the Workforce Section of Community Services and Parks. Today, I wanted to give you an update on a couple of our grant programs that we operate out of the Verdugo Job Center at 1255 South Central Avenue in Glendale. Before I start on some of the updates that is listed in your report, I just want to share that overall, our Job Search Center provides overall services to the public. So anybody looking for work, looking for their second career, looking to upgrade their skills, can come into our center, meet with a career counselor, and start the process. Similarly, we assist businesses that have job openings. So any business looking to hire a specific position can contact us or come in person, meet with the staff, and we can get the process started. Primarily in the report, I cover grant-funded programs that we apply for, specific programs. We operate what's known as a career pathway program, and basically what that is we identify a career in industry that's in demand. We identify an educational provider, usually a community college, local community college like Glendale Community College, and we identify businesses that have need for a specific job opening. And those three elements are kind of the core components of our career pathway programs. So starting with the Bioscience Career Pathway Program, this is our partnership we have with actually 7 bioscience companies. And the reason this came to be is that what we noticed a trend that individuals enrolled in what is known as career technical education. So not necessarily a track that is for a bachelor's degree or even an A degree, but a certificated program where they obtain skills in specific areas or not getting employed after they completed their program. And this was brought to our attention by local community colleges and local businesses were saying, well, one of the things missing after they complete their local program is how do we make sure as a business that they have the critical skills they need to be successful in an entry-level position. So a team came together comprised of workforce, education, and business to devise what is known as a credential exam. So individuals, after they complete a career technical program, they take the exam that was designed by bioscience companies, by college, and also by workforce staff. That exam consists of 100 questions. If they score a 70 or better, they are issued a Biocom certified certificate, which basically is the seal of approval that bioscience companies say that this credential that you have passed shows your competencies in the specific career technical education program. So what we found is that collaboration with business, letting us know what was missing, was the linkage to ensure that those individuals who completed a rigorous program or employed in entry-level, high-growth industries. So we're very proud of the Bioscience Career Pathway Program. It's a program that we have expanded since 2012 when we first implemented it. To date, 75 students registered to take the exam. There's no cost to register for the exam. It's completely grant-funded. 51 have passed with a 70% score of higher, and they've earned the credential. Those who don't pass the exam are given the opportunity to meet with a technical advisor at their local community college. They can retake the test and at least have up to 3 opportunities to pass and get a credential. So we've seen an overall placement of those students who complete the program, take the test, of 90%, which is extremely high. And again, so far we have recorded 46 have obtained full-time employment throughout the duration. So we are continuing to expand this program and work with different local community colleges so they can offer the exam at no cost to students enrolled in a bioscience program. The second program I'd like to speak about is our early childhood pre-apprenticeship. So apprenticeship programs basically combine classroom work and work experience together. We have funded apprenticeship programs in the past. This one is specifically targeted to early childhood. Companies that run Head Start programs, primarily for low-income families. There has been a shortage of early child care providers in the last 2 years due to COVID and many other restrictions. So we partnered with an organization called ESEPS, and I have to apologize. In our world, there's a lot of acronyms. So ESEP stands for Early Care and Education Pathways to Success. It's an organization that has a history of implementing apprenticeships in early childhood development. So we partnered with them, as well as local employers, Pacific Clinics, which is based in Glendale, Families Forward, and Bright Minds, and we designed a pre-apprenticeship program where individuals enrolled take early childhood development classes, and then they're placed in these employer sites to gain the work experiences they need to basically implement the skills and knowledge they learned in the classroom. So we launched this earlier this year, and the students complete 6 units of classroom training at LA Mission College and up to 150 hours of paid on-the-job training that our grant covers. One of the 3 employees who hired these companies are also considered a pre-apprenticeship program. So we have programs that are workforce funding funds, but we also have programs that we apply for special grant funds so we can make sure we continue it. Along with that, we recently were awarded to continue the childhood development apprenticeship. We were recently awarded a grant award from the Division of Apprenticeship Standards, DAS, and they're giving us an additional $2 million to expand our early childhood development program. Now, one thing I want to add, these programs are targeted for low-income families. So the goal is to work with the families who have children already enrolled in Head Start programs. Since they're already there, they're unemployed, they have an interest in being near their child, they're learning a skill of early childhood development, they're taking college credit courses, and then they're being able to work full-time for these childcare providers. So it is really a win-win for the families that they are gaining these skills and becoming self-sufficient. So we are receiving a grant award from the Division of Apprenticeship Standards, and we already started this grant, but we're expecting to do a second cohort in August, and we are adding new employers. So we're working with Volunteers of America and Foothill Families. There is, I would say, half a dozen childcare providers that have Head Start families. So our goal is to really target different areas where we connect the businesses to these skill-trained employees. Another program that I have not talked as much about is called Glendale Learns. So this is a program specifically geared to adult education and focuses on key populations such as low income, refugees, as well as people with disabilities. So the funding that we receive from the state of California, Department of Education, enables us to create this program we've labeled Glendale Learns. And that program over the years has allowed us to fund programs such as our CNC Machinist Academy, which is specifically targeted for people with disabilities, to be enrolled as computer numeric control machinist, and then be connected to growth pathways in the manufacturing industries. We've also funded externships to graduates from medical assistant and dental assistant programs. Most of the participants in these programs are low-income individuals, so our funding supports their paid work experience, so they basically earn while they learn. And that enables them to be successful in, again, obtaining the additional skills they need to be successful. So these are just some areas that we fund under Glendale Learns. I also want to talk about our youth program. We have a dynamic youth program run by the Glendale Youth Alliance. July is around the corner, which I think it's next week. So they will start their summer brush program where youth clear hillside brush as their first time employment. This program is really a great opportunity for youth to learn about work skills, learn about teamwork, learn about what it is to be committed to work, being a work on time, not using your cell phone, all these great soft skills that we teach and mentor our youth. So we are happy we have funding from LA County to support the Summer Brush program. So that starts beginning of July. We're also funded to support youth with disabilities through the Department of Rehabilitation. So we have 80 slots, and we work with our local school district as well as Burbank Unified and Glendale Unified to train 80 youth with paid work experience. And again, these youth, they learn soft skills training before they're on the work site, and our experience have been that youth that are exposed to work experience at an early age become successful when they first get their first job right out of school. They already know what the work norms are, work expectations are, and they're very confident when they apply for positions. GYA will also be administered for the third year, the Life Ramp program. And the Life Ramp program is a very unique program that allows for housing subsidies, which in turn we case manage families to make sure they're self-sufficient. Each family is assessed for their different needs. Based on their needs, we then come up with a plan of action. They have a savings plan. And so to date, we've, with the third phase of the program, we anticipate helping over 100 families be successful in different areas of their lives. Lastly, I would like to cordially invite all the commissioners to Glendale Youth Alliance. Thank you, Iris. 30-year anniversary fundraiser, which is Thursday, July 20th, right around the corner, at 6 p.m. in Brand Park's Doctor's House. All proceeds will go to benefit GYA Youth Employment Program, so it should be a really great event. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, Susan? Regina?
Thank you.
I did have one thought. Thank you for your report.
Yes.
As you were speaking, because congratulations, and I really applaud you on the successes of these amazing programs. I've heard, conversations, participating in the homeless count, for example, and also at the action plan meeting, outreach meeting. I've continued to hear the need for, these supportive services or mobile health clinics. And I know that, the Glendale area definitely has some really great nursing programs, for example, at GCC and other community colleges nearby. I was wondering if there was an opportunity, or if there has been any thoughts on, kind of localizing, kind of doing what you're doing with the bioscience companies program, but doing that with social work and nursing to provide those services to support our homeless outreach programs, for example, and homelessness prevention programs, because that is definitely a need across the whole area, of course. But if we can address it here with the resources that we have, again, localized here, I think that would be kind of an amazing kind of synergy to build off of.
President Meek, Commissioner Alcazar, I think that's a great idea. The healthcare industry actually has suffered one of the huge losses in nursing. I know Glendale Community College, they do have a nursing program. I know the spots are very limited as well, and there's always more demand than they have spots available, but that's definitely something I can reach out to see how we can create a similar type of program. Because there's such a huge need, and especially because we have so many local hospitals in Glendale,
that too, right.
And not only local hospitals, local medical offices. So there is definitely opportunity to partner as such. So we'll definitely pursue that. Our goal with the bioscience program is to use that as a model for the other industries, such as healthcare and cybersecurity, other in growing fields. So yes, we'll definitely look into that area.
Thank you.
On your pre-apprentice and apprentice, are those people placed at places in Glendale, or does it go wider than that?
It goes wider than Glendale. So in Glendale, we specifically work with Pacific Clinics, and the employer has to agree to participate. So if they agree to participate in an apprenticeship program, there's actually an apprenticeship contract that lists the kind of the hourly rate that the individual has to receive. So what we've noticed, we have to expand. So Pacific Clinics actually connected us to Family Forward and Bright Minds. So there's a network of agencies that come together on a regular basis. So any employer that is willing to participate is open to. So we're open to expand the number of providers in Glendale and locally, because what we find is a lot of local folks want to work locally. So as we expand, we do that. But yes, we do. But Pacific Clinics is the one that's based in Glendale.
And the people that are in these programs, are they Glendale residents, or is that also outside?
It's primarily for Pacific Clinics in that location. It's mostly Glendale residents, but and it's open to anybody. Our programs, because we're mostly federally funded, we're open to the public. Majority of time, though, because we're based in Glendale, mostly local residents come to us or the surrounding cities, but it is an open system, so anybody who's interested can contact us.
That's great, and I am so pleased to learn about these and what you're doing. It's wonderful work. It makes Glendale a much better city.
Thank you,
Thank
President.
you.
Thank you.
Next item.
Okay, next is item 7D, Recreation and Community Services Section Monthly Activity Report for May 2023.
Good afternoon again, President Meek, members of the commission. I'm going to go over the May monthly activity report for the recreation section. So on May 12, we had our Glendale Dodger Night, our 10th annual Glendale Dodger Night. We sold 624 tickets for the game and 27 VIP tickets. On Thursday, May 18, we had our Senior Street Fest and 90-plus celebration at Artsakh Paseo. We had over 200 seniors participate in the day's festivities, and over 17 vendors came and provided their informational material to our seniors who were attending the event. On May 19, we had One Glendale Soccer Season Championship Day, and the Soccer Season Championship Day is also marking the end of the One Glendale program for the school year. We had the Edison Eagles take the championship for the season. We had a presentation for our seniors on May 10th at the Adult Recreation Center. It was an Alzheimer's awareness presentation where we showed a movie and answered some questions in collaboration with Alzheimer's LA. Our Trails and Open Space program had numerous events. On May 6th, 16 participants joined staff at Take a Walk on the Wild Side, Twilight Hike. On May 13, 8 volunteers assisted at the Riverwalk. On May 13. On May 19, staff took a group up to the experimental forest to see how the trees are growing up there. And then on May 2015, participants joined staff for a wilderness work day at Dukmajan. Our Stormbar Nature Center was open for 12 days during the month of May with 1,548 visitors throughout the month. On May 12, 67 second graders came to the Nature Center from John Marshall Elementary School. They learned all about the mysteries in nature. And then the monthly GO program took place on May 13 and focused on the science behind super blooms. A total of 28 participants joined the program for this month. Our Youth and Family Services section continued to have Teen Night Out at Pacific Community Center. On Friday, May 19, teens were able to get community service hours dressed up as the school mascots during the championship game. They did some karaoke, played some games in the recreation room, as well as billiards and PlayStation. Our Youth and Family Services section also continued with its mentoring at middle schools. In May, we had Narbe Ibrahimian talk to the teens about sports and how his commitment to basketball led to a career in sports and sports education. Narbe is one of our community members, a Gunlo resident, who also had a chance to represent the Republic of Armenia on the men's national basketball team. He went to San Diego State as a walk-on and got accepted to the team. So San Diego State that went to the Final Four recently. Our Youth and Family Services section also oversees the STAR program. The STAR programs focused on loyalty, honesty, and compassion during the month of May, and day 2 went to Glendale Dodger Night. Our Therapeutic Recreation program had its monthly MIP Day on May 20th at Maple Park. And we celebrated Club Maple's anniversary party on May 18. Club Maple now has a over 30-year history serving therapeutic recreation of participants in Glendale, and we had over 67 participants during the anniversary party at Maple. Our Elderly Nutrition Program serves 6,413 meals in the congregate hybrid meals format and 1,764 in terms of home delivered meals program. The EMP program is set to resume fully in person on Monday, July 10, 2023. No more hybrid take home. Everything will be in person the same way it used to be prior to COVID. Our EMP program also had a Mother's Day celebration at Spar Heights Community Center and at the Adult Recreation Center on May 11. And our Senior Services program continue to provide services to our seniors. We currently have 41 unduplicated clients in the program. Our Senior Services section partnered and collaborated with Glendale Police Department for a cereal box drive from April 1st through May 31st, 2023. The event was so popular and we got such an overwhelming response that we have 400 boxes of cereal that we can now provide to seniors that need additional meal and support. On June 13, CSP accepted a proclamation from City Council to raise awareness for elder abuse, which is recognized on June 15, 2023. Or on June 15, Dr. Adrian Navarro from Senior Services Committee and Deputy Chief Andrew Jenks from Glendale PD provided a short presentation, informed the public about types of elder abuse and outreach efforts to help combat it. Moving on, upcoming events. Summer concerts in the park. As you met Chase earlier, his first summer concert will be on Wednesday, July 5th, which is next Wednesday at Verdugo Park from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. and subsequently every Wednesday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. all the way through August 9th. We'll have 3 concerts here at City Hall's Perkins Plaza, and those concerts will be on Thursday evenings from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Between the MSB building, the building on those 4 stilts, and the WP building. Those concerts will begin on July 27th, August 3, and August 10. And for years, we've been working with our library department, and finally we were able to coordinate our outreach efforts. So on one flyer, we are now also advertising all the concerts that are taking place at the park at Brand Library and Arts Center. So those concerts, about 9 of them are taking place there on Friday evenings, and their first concert will be on July 7th. We have Riverwalk Workday scheduled for July 8th. and then August 12th thereafter. We have a LA Found tracking bracelets presentation for seniors. This is a very useful device, and we're encouraging not just the seniors, but their primary caregivers, their adult children who might be their caregivers, to participate and get more information. It's rare, but it does happen at the adult recreation primarily, where we get a senior who has no idea where they live, where to go, what to do, who their family members are, completely disconnected with any way of reaching. And these LA Found tracking bracelets would be a good way to find out where they need to go and, how to get home. Our teen night out will continue throughout July and August, as we're coming to the end of June here. We have another wilderness work day scheduled for July 15, and then the August 19th for the one after that. MIP Day will take place on Saturday, July 15 from 11 to 1, which of course is the same day as Cruise Night. So Cruise Night will be on July 15 from 5:30 to 10:30. And the reason why I made that point for MIP Day is, while we're doing MIP Day, we're also doing the setup for Cruise Night. Gabrielle and her crew will be out there from the morning. We're doing the climbing wall in my section, so it'll be a fun, long day, but it's good. And then we have the Japanese farmhouse presentation. I'm trying to catch up here on my notes and the slides. That is taking place at the Tea House on Sunday, July 16 from 11 to 1. And that does have an admission associated with it that is organized by the Friends of Joseon, if I'm not mistaken. And they're the ones that are throwing that event, which is why there's a cost and entry fee associated with it. Of course, as Judy mentioned previously, Glendale Youth Alliance's 30th anniversary wine and cheese night fundraiser at Brand Park in front of the doctor's house. That'll take place on July 20th. And that concludes my presentation. All of our events, upcoming events, are listed on our CSP calendar. Our residents are encouraged to go to the CSP calendar so that they know about these information and can plan respectively ahead of time. If there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
Any questions? It's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next is item 7E, Park Services Section Monthly Activity Report for April 2023.
Good afternoon again, President Meek, members of the commission. For the month of April, our crews completed 819 work orders, 757 completed by groundskeepers, 12 pesticide application work orders, and 50 irrigation repair work orders for a total of 1,342. Now, there is a presentation. Either I can postpone it till next month for the sake of time. It's been a long afternoon, and add some more to it, or if the commission likes, we can present it now.
Pardon? I can stay.
I'll go either way, whatever, if there was.
Okay, go ahead.
This is a culmination of a number of months. We've only hand selected 3 or 4 projects to highlight for you. One is, we've already mentioned this, it's come up. This presentation was ready last month. We couldn't, due to time, we couldn't present. So Glen Oaks Park's playground replacement, Mr. Gonzalez already covered this, so I'll go fairly quickly with the presentation on this. The items that he did not touch on are things that we improved on the playground. So the playground project was a capital project that was completed by our contractor. Yet after the playground was completed and we opened it up, if you notice between the fence line and the curb for the playground, there is a gap. So our crews determined this is a perfect opportunity for a bench for people, for parents to sit and watch. So we went through and started creating a seating area, and of course had to be poured concrete. We identified two locations, one on the kind of the far left end and one on the opposite end, 15-foot benches, and poured into concrete, and then the entire back area was concreted. So now we have a nice clear distinction between the fence line, seating area for the community, as well as the playground. We also have a picnic table that's going to be coming in at the request of the community. We'll be placing a couple of picnic tables on the far east end of this play area as well under the trees, so parents can actually enjoy picnic as well as watch it. We also did some improvements to the fence on the west side. It doesn't quite show it here. I don't think I took pictures of the fence. The turf area around the perimeter was, with the construction, was, saw a little damage. And before we turned it over to the community, we actually improved the turf over there. We took out all the existing dead grass. We changed the irrigation. We made it a little more efficient than it used to be. And then we laid sod using our crews, as we normally would do. And one of our guys sitting enjoying a finished product at the end of a very, very long and tiresome day. And we had it extended all the way to the playground in the area between the two play elements, the track and as well as the main play area. We did some improvements over at Montrose Shopping Park. At the request of the association, we did improvements to the existing landscape, as well as resodded some areas that tend to have activities, especially in front of the memorial, and a couple of areas that had sod. It took us a little while to get the approvals in place, but based on our conversations in front of Starbucks, mostly in the intersection of Ocean View and Honolulu, at all four corners, and then further out also in front of the ice cream shop, we replaced the existing grass and planted sod. Those had been, over the years, with use, and had been trampled over, and they should be beautiful. Now, these stakes and these pictures were taken after installation. These have been removed now, and they are open for the community to use. We've also gone and worked with our contractor to improve the landscaping in some of the areas that the landscape had started to diminish its overall quality. Some areas just improved the existing landscape by adding a couple of planters in bare areas. Other areas were completely replanted, such as this particular intersection. So overall, the entire stretch of the shopping park did see a re-landscaping, in some areas slight, in some areas heavy re-landscaping, to bring it up to a quality standard that we would like to see. And we're working with the contractor to make sure they maintain the quality of landscape in the entire stretch of the Montrose Shopping Park. Armin put in quite a few pictures. Good job, Armin. And lastly, we'd like to identify our irrigation crews don't get a lot of love, I guess. We don't present their projects because they're not, projects you want to see. There's no real vision of what really happens. But at times we like to identify some of the challenges, especially when the challenges are deep below grade and mainline breaks and major valves that break. And it does happen more frequently than people imagine, especially with aging pipes and corrosions. Here's one where they had to come in and like a valve, a shutoff valve that was identified in this intersection that was leaking, and we found that there was some corrosion and the pipe had broken, and staff had to dig it up, record it off, and obviously the angles that you see here, and reattached it with the new shutoff valve, isolate it so that if there's anything that happens in the park, you can isolate certain areas of the park, manage the irrigation repairs while the rest of the park continues to function as it normally would. And of course, after the job is done, then have to repack the dirt, compact it in, and close it off, and eventually this area will be re-landscaped to match the existing landscape of the area, and that should conclude the projects. Currently, this past couple of months, we were working on safety surfacing of our playgrounds. The fly bar, which is the wood chips safety surfacing. We have, I believe, completed all but one facility. Should be done later this week, if not first part of next week. And we've done a number of facilities that old concrete tables that were either deteriorated or broken needed to be replaced. We've done several of those the past couple of weeks. And there are a number of sites left that we'll be finishing up next month, as it takes 6 to 8 weeks for those concrete tables to be manufactured and delivered. Those should be coming in. And we do have Verdugo Adobe on our list of enhancements for the landscape. We had started it, and we had to take a pause because there were some street improvements that kind of conflicted with the traffic, and we just didn't want to impose any more heavy traffic in the area for the community. We're going to pick that up as we move forward. And part of the project, the Emerald Isle Playground, it's not going to be part of the contractor's job, but there's an area that we noticed the overflow of water, and we wanted to change that up. And Mr. Joe Gonzalez had recommended that we build a bioswale that's going to be incorporated into that overall project, yet it's going to be done by our crews as we move forward. So Emerald Isle is getting quite a bit of love: new playground, tennis court resurfacing, basketball court resurfacing, and a new bioswale that's going to be part of the project. Summer tends to be busy for us. We'll start our ball field infield renovations, and we're also working on getting 2 major renovations of our ball fields. We have to go out to bid on those, and so we're developing specifications similar to capital projects to go get council's approval on the specifications, then go out to bid and award. And it's going to be slightly delayed this year because the costs we're realizing are significantly higher than what we've experienced in the past. They cut over a 50,000 threshold, then it has to be basically a capital project. We're going to be working on those this next couple of months, and we'll bring back reports on those items to commission in the upcoming months.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Did you have any question?
Nope, just thanks.
Okay, next item?
Next is adjournment.
Whoa. Okay, we can adjourn at 4:32.